Welcome to Dolly Talk. How is everybody doing today? We have day 2 of the Stefan Angelle murder trial, and looks to be pretty interesting today. This is a retrial. First one was in February of 24, and that was a hung jury. What we have here is Stefan and Jacoby Jawan Rubin were arguing on social media and decided to meet up in person to engage in a brawl. So they brought their posse, their crew, and got together, fought. Well, at some point, Stefan decided to go back to his car, get his gun, and shots started going out between them. Jacoby died, and Stefan is on trial right now. So we are going to start with day 2. Thank you.
Recall 22-39014, the state of Texas versus Stephen Rayvon Angelle. The defendant is present, his attorney and the state's attorneys. And the jury will be brought forward here in a moment. The court just wanted to make one addition. Yesterday, we had a hearing on the admissibility of the statements made by the defendant who was in the hospital, as the defense contended that there may be issues concerning custodial interrogation issues under Article 38.22 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. The court held a hearing on that matter and made findings, and also wanted to include in its findings, as the court read from the holding in a Supreme Court case, that a person is in custody only if a reasonable person would believe that he has been deprived of their freedom to a degree associated with a formal arrest. And that is the Stansbury versus California Supreme Court case 511 United States 318. And that was a holding made in 1994. And I just wanted to add that citation to the court's findings and rulings. All right, state ready?
Yes, Your Honor. We have our witness ready to go, Judge.
And defense ready?
Defense are always ready, Judge.
All right, bring the jury forth. Thank you.
Story.
Defense should be right here,
And this is Mr. Lassen.
but the camera's moved too far to the right.
He's a very popular guy. He's due next door. I won the leg wrestling competition to get him in, Judge.
Okay, I thought we had Lazenby yesterday, and I didn't know
Listen, we
broke that up to take the
Good Lord, is it the
medical
same
personnel
people?
from passing on.
yes, sir.
There's the jury. There we go.
And the record shall show that the jury is now seated in the courtroom. Again, thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to proceed, and the state may call the next witness.
Dr. William McLean.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Lower your hand. Thank you.
Good. State your name for the record, please.
I'm William McLean.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a forensic pathologist and medical examiner.
For those who don't know what that means, can you tell them what that is?
I perform autopsies on individuals who make suddenly in order to determine the cause of death and provide for the manual death.
What kind of training and education is required to do that job, sir?
I obtained my Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Texas in Arlington. Again,
I just say I think he's the youngest coroner I've ever seen. Like every single one normally looks like the crypt keeper. Huh.
I did medical school at the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston. Then I completed a combined anatomic and clinical pathology residency program at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. And then a one-year fellowship in forensic pathology at the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office, which is also in San Antonio. And I'm board certified in anatomic pathology, clinical pathology, and forensic pathology.
That's a lot. You say that a few times, don't you?
Got it down by memory.
And I think just for your education, for the jury's reminder as well, I told them that you had to be in a couple of places today and that we'd squeeze you in when we could. You, in fact, already testified this morning, haven't you?
I have.
There in Chambers County?
That's right.
Due to testify next door when you're done with us, aren't you?
That's correct.
All right. So business, all for the forensic medical management.
But that's my employer, yes, sir.
Okay. And how long have you worked for them?
October will be 5 years, so a little less than 5 years.
And in that capacity, have you been called upon to testify about another doctor's autopsy?
I had not only in that capacity, but also when I worked for a couple different county medical center offices as well.
Tell the jury how that operates.
Well, as you can imagine, with any kind of place of employment, there people move on and no longer work for a particular entity, or they pass away, retired, that sort of thing. So we, another part of what I do and what forensic pathologists do is review cases for consultation and offer, second opinions on autopsies and that sort of thing as a routine anyways. And so we've set up our practice where we cover the autopsy service at the office for 1 week at a time. And whoever is on duty performing the autopsy that week will testify in place of those physicians who no longer work for the company or pass away, retire, that sort of thing.
So from a legal standpoint, do you have access to all the records in order to perform that kind of service?
That's correct.
Does it include all the photos from an autopsy?
Yes, sir.
Does it include the report from the doctor who performed that autopsy?
Yes, sir.
And are all those records kept with Forensic Medical Management Services in the regular course of that business activity?
Yes, sir.
And you are one of the custodians of that record, correct?
I am.
Can you testify that all those records are kept in the regular course of that business practice?
Yes, sir.
That they're trustworthy?
They are.
Nobody goes in and messes around with those things, do they?
We keep them secure. If they do that, we've got them under surveillance.
All right. So let's get to the specifics about the autopsy of a decedent by the name of Jacoby Rubin. Are you familiar with that name?
I am.
Did you perform the autopsy that was done on them?
No, sir.
Who actually did that autopsy?
Dr. Angelle Armstrong.
So did you do that test that we just explained to the jury where you reviewed and you're here to give kind of a second opinion about what took place?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
You have.
I'll show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 85. This is the autopsy report that's a part of those records that you and I talked about.
Yes, sir.
Show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 72 through 79. Are these photographs from that same file that you've reviewed in portion in part of your testimony here today?
They are.
Will these photographs assist you with explaining to the jury the injuries that were observed and the cause of death in this case?
Yes, sir.
And as to these photos, are they a part of the record keeping system that we were talking about that are considered business records for forensic medical management?
They are.
This time, Your Honor, I'm going to tender states 72 through 79.
No objection, stage 72 to 79 inclusive, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
You want to do the report? I'm going to do it after. I need it to.
Yeah, I'm holding up on on the report. Make sure I'm on track with you about the injuries and all. All right. So does each of these have a particular case number that you all identify with?
Yes, sir. Each decedent that comes into our office is assigned a unique case identified number.
So on the overhead screen, I've got State's Exhibit 72, where it appears the number 21-1287 BMT. Is that the case number associated with this case?
It is.
Will that number appear on every one of the photographs?
Yes, sir.
And will it also appear on the report?
Yes, sir.
And is that to keep track of the different autopsies that take place?
That's right.
So can you tell the jury that what the name of the decedent is?
Jacoby Rubin. Yes, Rubin.
Well, is that who's pictured here in State's Exhibit 73?
That's the individual who was presented to our office as being named Jacoby Rubin.
And that's again associated with that case number that we've been talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what is the jury? What injury are we looking at in this picture that we need to start explaining, sir?
Well, in this photograph, you can see on the left side of the neck what is turns out to be the exit of a gunshot.
Is that here, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, if at any point in time you need to do some pointing and all that, I've got a fancy stick there for you to use with the deal behind you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you said this is an exit wound.
Yes, sir.
Where's the entrance?
It is near his right axilla or armpit.
Is that what we see here in State's Exhibit 74?
Yes, that is it there in the crux of the L ruler that you pointed to. Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom that in. I'm not seeing that very well. Is that here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and actually in State 75, is that a close-up of that?
It is. Yes, sir.
In State 76?
This is a photograph from the left side of the decedent's face, as you can tell. And to the left of the screen, yes, sir, is the gunshot exit wound.
I'm gonna pause with your other photographs. Tell the jury what information you determined about this one.
Well, beginning with the entrance wound, I notice that there is no soot deposited on the skin around the wound, or what we call stippling or gunpowder stippling, also referred to as gunpowder tattooing.
Why is that important?
One of the key elements of analyzing gunshot wounds that I'm charged with is helping to determine what we call the range of fire. And that's a reference to the distance between the tip of the gun and target that is hit by the bullet, in this case, Mr. Rubin's, the right side of his chest near his armpit. So that's what we call the range of fire, is that distance. We generally classify range of fire as being a contact wound, a close range wound, a medium range wound, or an undetermined or indeterminate range, meaning we can't tell how far it is. So when a gun is close enough to the skin that the soot that comes out of the end of the gun, the burnt gunpowder, the ash, much like in your cigarette ashtray, and unburned gunpowder particles will come out of the end of the gun. And if the gun is close enough, both the soot and the unburnt gunpowder particles will impact the skin. And so we will see ash or soot around the wound. We will also see tiny little scrapes to the skin, abrasions of the skin, where those gunpowder grains that scrape the skin when they impact it. Sometimes the grains are even embedded in the skin. So that would be an indicator of close range. Medium range would be that the soot is not present, it's gone off into the ether world, but the gunpowder grains still made it. So that's a little further away, what we call medium range. And then if the gun is too far away for the soot or the gunpowder grains to impact the skin, then that's distant, or what we usually call undetermined, because you just don't know if there wasn't some cloth or a pillow or a door or something that filtered it out. We know it's closer to the.
Which category does this fall into?
This falls into the undetermined, indeterminate range, or distant. But again, you just can't say with confidence that it's distant, but I would call it indeterminate.
So I'm going to rephrase it. You did a great job. I just want to put it in my words to make sure I understand. With this State's Exhibit 75, we don't see any markings around this wound.
That's correct.
And that's what gives you that finding that you just described.
That's right.
Okay. In the report, there's a reference about path. Tell the jury about that.
Yeah, so the main purpose of the autopsy, as you can imagine, is for us to determine the path that the bullet took or the projectile took as it passed through the body, into and through the body. In this case, the projectile, after going through the skin, went through the pectoralis muscle on the right side of the chest, and then through the second rib on the right side. Then it went through the right lung, came into the structures of the neck, and injured the right jugular vein, the vein that drains blood from the head back to the body. It also injured the right carotid artery, which takes the blood from the heart up to the brain. Then it passed through the trachea or the windpipe, and then through the muscle and soft tissue on the left side of the neck as the exit.
So if I was that body, it sounds like it's entered somewhere in the left, going in this path.
Generally,
Sounds
yes.
like he had no chance. I'm shocked he made it to the hospital.
Probably a little bit lower from what you described, just because of the damage you said to the lung. As far as how I had that.
Oh, and no, that was pretty close. That halfway included passing through the right lung.
Okay, good. That is up on the screen, definitely the exit there. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And was a projectile recovered?
No projectile was recovered.
Really?
So did this wound cause Mr. Rubin's death? Is that one of the things that is determined in an autopsy is the cause of death?
That's the primary thing determined by autopsy.
And the jury can be assured that this is the wound that did that?
Yes, sir.
Is that what the finding was in the autopsy report as well as your personal opinion?
Yes.
And what was the manner of death?
Homicide.
Tell the jury what that means.
For me, in my world, my role, the word homicide means that it is the death of one individual at the hands of a second person when that act is committed with the intention to harm or kill that person, or when it's an action that any reasonable person would understand had a pretty good chance of seriously hurting and killing that person.
So medical words we use, homicide, that may or may not mean murder or one of the other criminal elements in a legal sense, right?
And that's true, yes.
Right. There was another wound that was apparent. Remember what that was?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
There was a grazed gunshot wound on his left shoulder.
Is that what we see here in State's Exhibit 77?
It is.
Is that the same side? Is that the same side as where it went under the armpit, or is it the opposite side?
This is the opposite.
In State's 78, is that a close-up of that one?
It is, yes, sir.
Anything about that attribute to the cause of death?
Does not. That wound doesn't break the skin. Obviously, there's a little bit of hemorrhage in the wound head, which tells me that he had some semblance of a pulse at the time he received that wound, as opposed to being struck after he was already more or less dead. But beyond that, striking the skin, it didn't contribute to his death.
Is that why we call it a graze?
It's called graze because it's just simply grazing the skin. It doesn't create any internal injury.
You said, I think you said, I'm getting my days confused, but I'm showing you State's 79. Did you talk about observing abrasions?
I didn't talk about that yet, but there were some abrasions on different parts of his body. So,
Tell the jury about that, please.
yeah, so as depicted in this photograph, this is a photograph of the decedent's right hand where there's a cluster of abrasions, which are just straight to the skin, like we all got on concrete when we crashed our bike to skid. And so here on the hand, he also had an abrasion just above his left eye. On his face, he had some on his upper lip, on the inside of his upper lip. On his abdomen, on the right side of his abdomen, he had an abrasion as well. Talked about this one on the thumb. And then on his right lower leg, he had an abrasion.
What does that make you think, Doctor?
Well, especially the ones to the hands, there's a variety of ways those happen, but we observe those and take pictures of them. Perhaps they indicate that someone was in a fight and a hand-to-hand kind of struggle with someone. Then those are the kinds of wounds we expect to see. Of course, you can do them in a ton of other ways too, but that's specifically why we look at the hand the pictures there.
I put up on the screen State's Exhibit 73. Can you see any of those abrasions on Mr. Rubin's head that you were describing or no?
Yes, sir. They're above his left eye. And I'll point it out for them.
Please.
Here on the inner upper part of his left eye, you can see one of those abrasions.
You described something in his mouth you observed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we don't have a picture of a photograph of that, but on the inner surface of his lip, yeah, there's stripes as well. Kind of similar to what you might expect if the lip passed over the teeth and the teeth kind of scrapes the inside of the lip.
Is it moving on to another portion of your? Have we talked about all the injuries that were apparent during the autopsy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to move on to what's done in every autopsy. You and I know it. Isn't it true that we do toxicology on every victim that appears in an autopsy?
Just about everyone we autopsy get blood work toxicological testing.
What's the purpose for that?
Well, first we want to see, is there any kind of intoxicant that caused death or contributed to death? That's a primary reason. Secondary reasons would be perhaps explaining why someone was behaving a certain way as reported by witnesses prior to the death. Might be explained by a substance detected in the blood, or even by analyzing other fluids for electrolytes and glucose levels and kidney function. Those are
Or the full body, trying to understand what's going on with the full body.
that's right. We need the whole picture.
By way of that same example, there was radiology done on this individual.
That's correct.
And tell the jury what that is.
Well, in this case, since this decedent had an obvious injury that looks very much like a gunshot wound, then we performed X-rays or radiographs of the affected portions of the body. And the primary reason for that is to identify any retained projectile, any retained metallic object that we ought to go and dig out, because that would obviously be evidence that would be important to collect. So that's the primary reason why we do those radiographs prior to doing the autopsy.
All right. So what was the, backing up to the toxicology, what was the finding on the toxicology from Mr. Rubin?
He had metabolites of marijuana.
If the jury reads the report, will that read as THC?
Yes, sir. Yeah, THC is tetrahydrocannabinol. That
Marijuana.
formulations in the toxicology report, and those are all different breakdown products of the plant.
Is it also a part of the autopsy that there is collection of evidence, DNA, blood, stain cards, fingernail scrapings, things of that nature?
Yes, sir.
Can I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'll show you what's marked as states 56. Does this appear to be what was collected in regards to Mr. Rubin for the purposes of those items that you want to mention?
Yes, sir. This is the gunshot residue kit. Or the fingernail clippings. I'm sorry, fingernail clipping from the time of the autopsy. Yes, sir.
Are there markers on there that tells you that that comes from Mr. Rubin?
There are.
For example, does it contain that case number we were talking about earlier?
It does, yes, sir.
And identifiers that it comes from forensic medical is present?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I would tender states exhibit 85. That is the autopsy report as a business record.
Affecting states 85, Your Honor.
Submitted.
Just by way of example, Doctor, because I know it reads a little bit differently than we'll talk about. Is this the toxicology that you and I were just talking about and how it reads? This is the findings there?
Yes, sir. This is the first page of the 3-page report, and it's inside that box are the positive findings. So they're the substances that were detected in the blood.
Do we have any reason to believe that this was some cause or was involved in any way to the cause of death that we're talking about here?
No, sir. That did not contribute to his death.
And on the front of this exhibit, is this your business here?
It is, yes, sir.
The case number that we've been talking about there?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rubin
That's his name, yes, sir.
is alleged date, time of death, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what's this here?
That is the date and time at which the autopsy was begun.
And all the pathological findings that you've been testifying to, correct?
Correct.
Those were findings that the doctor made at the time,
Yes, sir.
and you've made your own opinion?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree entirely with her opinion?
I do.
That is the cause of death, that gunshot wound
Yes,
caused
sir.
that homicide?
Yes, sir.
To use your wording, homicide.
Yes, sir.
That's what.
Good morning, Doctor. How you been?
Doing well, thank you.
Have some questions for you, of course. We made mention, I'm going to try to go backwards a little bit. I want to talk about the toxicology report first. Okay? Can you tell the jury why there's 3 classifications in reference to the THC or the marijuana? Why is it broken down like that?
Yes, sir. So anytime we ingest any substance, but specifically marijuana, smoking it or eating a gummy, what have you, your body, the body immediately has to break it down into its smaller components as a way to process it through and eventually to eliminate it. So once ingested, the process starts right away. The 11-hydroxy delta 9 THC, the delta 9 carboxy THC, and the delta 9 THC are all those different components that the body's breaking down. So they're all present in blood when the decedent died, and then that blood sample was drawn and tested, and they're detected.
It's not saying that he smoked 3 different types of marijuana. It was, what you're saying is the way the body breaks down when you smoke a joint or however you do it, that's how it breaks down in your body into different components.
That's correct.
And you got a result out of that. Is that correct? On each of those levels indicators?
Yes, back at this time, the laboratory still took the time to quantitate those different compounds, and that's what we got there. Nowadays, they've been spending time and money to quantitate them.
I show you the next page of that, and up here, Doctor, these are the same results as were on the page before, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain the reporting limit? Why are these numbers here? And well, the next question would be, how do they set those numbers for detection?
Yes. So we'll get into the weeds a little bit here. I'll do my best to keep it simple. the term reporting limit, that is the concentration of that substance at which the machine, in this case, you'll see in the column analysis by, that LCMS stands for liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. So the reporting limit is the amount of that substance needed in the blood sample in order for that machine to be able to detect it. So as an example, the 11-hydroxy delta 9 THC, the top result there, was measured at 2.1 nanograms of that substance for every 1 milliliter of blood. So that's the concentration. The reporting limit is telling me that so long as there is 1 nanogram of 11-hydroxy delta 9 THC for every milliliter of blood, then the machine will detect it and tell me, bingo, it's in there. If the concentration was, for example, 0.8 nanograms of that substance for every milliliter of blood, the machine wouldn't be able to tell that it was there, and it would come back as none detected. And so that's a significant difference than 0. It won't tell me that there's 0 11-hydroxy delta 9 THC, because there could be up to 0.9999 nanograms per milliliter. So I hope that makes sense. And so for delta 9 carboxy THC, for example, the reporting limit is 5 nanograms of that substance for every 1 milliliter of blood, and then 0.5 for delta 9 THC. The other part of the question was, why are those limits chosen? On one hand, that's just the capability of that machinery. On the other hand, for the delta 9 carboxy THC, for example, now that marijuana use is legal in many places, much like alcohol, jurisdictions have derived certain limits above which are considered to be driving under the influence, below which you're fine to drive all you want. And so the number 5 for delta 9 carboxy THC is the limit above which many jurisdictions, police departments in various parts of the country would consider you as being intoxicated and would cite you or arrest you for driving under the influence.
So when you look at the 1.0 and the 5.0 and the 0.5, that's when it starts affecting the body or the person that has smoking the marijuana. Is that in simple forms? Or
I would say that that's more accurate for the delta 9 carboxy THC, for example, and even the delta 9 THC. That would be an accurate statement for those. 11-hydroxy delta 9 THC really has no effect on the body anymore, so it doesn't really matter what that number is. So for some of these reporting limits, it's because of the machines. For others, it's because police, whoever, decided that above that means you're intoxicated.
Doctor, if you take the middle one, the delta 9 carboxy, yeah, that's it. You have a 5.0, and as the result, it's 54. What does that mean to you? Is that like 45? Oh, tell me what that means. Or the jury.
In truth, it really means nothing to me in my world and what I do. Remember, I'm determining the cause and manner of death. So to me, whatever that number is doesn't really matter because it didn't cause death. People don't die of marijuana overdoses. When I worked, for example, in Bexar County at the medical examiner's office, we don't even test for the metabolites of marijuana because nobody cares and it's a waste of county dollars. This laboratory I've made reference to earlier is the one we use here in forensic medical management services. We contract with them with a private lab, and they no longer quantify these numbers. They'll tell us that metabolites of marijuana are in the blood, but they won't even spend the money, even if we pay them to quantify those substances anymore. They said they're not going to do it anymore because it doesn't affect the cause and manner of death. It may affect other things for other people in other legal settings, but for me, it has no effect.
Respectfully, that isn't what I was asking, but you made reference during your testimony that the toxicology reports would tell you approximately or what possibly the behavior was of the individual that had the autopsy with the substance in that person's body. Remember testifying to that?
Yes, sir.
When you have a reporting or a report limit of 5.0 and 0.5 and the results are way over those reporting limits, that's what I was trying to get at is what would you expect on the behavior in reference to somebody that has that increased level in their bodies?
And so,
just let me just stop you there. I understand that was not the cause of death, but just what kind of behavior would you expect from that individual prior to what happened to him?
Certainly. So, in a very general sense, when a person uses marijuana, the effects that happens to most human beings is that it causes them to be calm, usually to relax. They'll often have dry mouth, they'll have bloodshot eyes. Their heart rates will generally slow down, blood pressure generally goes lower for most people. For a rare person, they can actually develop paranoia for about 1 in every 100,000 or 200,000 people. Marijuana will cause them to actually experience paranoia. Very rare, but generally speaking, it calms people down. How this amount of marijuana affected this individual, I can't testify to that. A person who is familiar with this person when he uses would be able to presumably testify to that. Another caveat to this marijuana metabolite testing is that an individual who smokes or uses marijuana daily on a chronic basis, especially if they have increased adipose tissue, can actually release metabolites of marijuana for up to 70 days after no longer using, as it's stored in adipose tissue and then can be released from their.
And my guess here is that the defense is trying to get ahead of the jury, thinking, well, if he was high, he was on weed, then he was calm, he was peaceful, he wasn't violent. So they're trying to get ahead of that and say, no, he can be still violent.
Adipose tissue as their body uses it for fuel, then those metabolites have been detected up to 70 days after people no longer use. So that's all part of the reason why it's hard to know what to do with these numbers and why nobody cares.
I know that you don't know the facts and circumstances, but there's been testimony prior that just before this individual was involved in a fighting situation. There were 2 people fighting, a lot of running around, being excited. So that goes against being calm and mellow and I'm here liking my dreams. Could they have an excited type of getting up and or like a fight? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think I do. And again, I don't know specifically this individual, but the understood effects of marijuana do not include excessive agitation, aggressiveness. Those are features that typically arise when people use stimulants like cocaine or methamphetamine.
You made mention during your testimony, Doctor, moving on to another one about abrasions. And we showed, or the state showed you, state's 79. And he had abrasions on his hand and his fingers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you saying that possibly was from a fight, or you really don't know? I mean, it could be a fight, could be a fall. I think you mentioned when you were small, your knees and stuff like that. You really don't know, do you?
I do not know specifically, but if asked, could that have been from a fight? Yes, it could have been from innumerable other examples.
And they showed you pictures of the face in reference to over the left eye, an abrasion. That could be somebody hitting them, correct?
Could be different.
And then the lip to someone, I guess, busting you in your mouth during a fight, correct?
That's a possibility, yeah.
And again, doctor, I know that you viewed the autopsy and you don't know anything about the facts, circumstances, or what led up to his death.
Well, some of that information was provided, to my office at the time that the autopsy was done and subsequent reports, that sort of stuff. So some of that background information, but of course, I was
right. Let's talk a little bit about the wounds. I don't want to show the pictures again. I guess I can, but the entrance wound was somewhere in the right side, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And does that mean that it would have had to enter while he was directed to the right side, like where the bullet was coming from, the projectile was coming from?
Well, given his path from entering here and exiting here, what we can say is there's a bullet moved from the decedent's right side to the decedent's left side. As far as spatially, the arrangement between where the gun is pointed and where the decedent was standing, of course, could have been face on, and then he turned at the last second. He could have been looking this way, and the gun was over here the whole time. He could have done a 360-degree turn or a cartwheel or anything. So our reference to the path is always regarding his body and how he's sitting, and in reference to his body position. And it doesn't mean to intend any sort of scenario as far as where the shooter was, where the gun was, or any of that.
You're not saying it doesn't appear to be impractical that if the entrance wound was to the right, he had his left shoulder from where it came from, right? It doesn't show anything like that.
Not when that bullet struck his body.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. And it came out the left side of his neck, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's a pointer here, doctor. I have that.
Yes.
And as Mr. Hand did, can you tell the degree of the trajectory of the bullet or the path of the bullet? The autopsy.
Well, I don't know if I can.
Could you point one to where it would be on your body or my body?
Sure. But again, I may or may not be the same size as Mr. Root, but generally speaking, the entrance is here. The
Okay.
exit was generally here. So that is in a vague sense the pathway.
That's all.
I don't know if he was as tall as me or as portly as I am, but generally this direction.
Does it show how tall he was on the autopsy, doctor?
It does. He was 68 inches or 5 feet 8 inches tall.
5'8". I told you I was 6'5". A little bit taller, so 5'8". And do you know how far from his entrance wound to the bottom of his feet approximately? Is there any indication in the report on that?
Let's see if we can do a little bit of math. The entrance wound in his right armpit area is
not math.
5 1/4 inches below the top of the shoulder. So that's not the top of his head, unfortunately. So there's no reference to the top of his head, but it's 5 1/4 inches below the top of his shoulder. But I think without knowing how far below the top of his head, we can't really do the.
Okay. And when you pointed or you used this pointer in reference to the entrance and the exit, it was almost at a 45-degree angle. Would you agree, give or take a couple of degrees?
Yeah, no, I suppose.
Something like this. Does that sound about right from what you see there?
Yeah, I suppose. We have a reference to the exit wound being, again, 9 inches below the top of the head. Unfortunately, the same anatomic landmark wasn't used for both. The exit was in reference to the top of the head, whereas the entrance was in reference only to the apex of the left shoulder. But we know from the photograph that it has a right to left and an upward trajectory through the body. But getting any kind of mathematical determination how steeply upward is tough.
Right. But from one, you would agree it's somewhere around 45, somewhere about 40, 45, something like that. Okay. Doctor, there was another wound caused by firearm projectile, correct?
Yes, sir.
I show you State's Exhibit 77, right there. And a close-up of it, which is State's Exhibit number 78. My question is, Doctor, do you know which way he was shot? Did it come this way or that way?
Yeah, for this wound, it's impossible to tell. Sometimes great wounds, what we call skin tags on the edges of the wound. In this case, there are no skin tags to give us any directionality.
It appears that most of the damage, though, is done here. And as a layperson, I would assume that that was the initial impact and then this, and then grazing off because it kind of lessens. So to me, it's almost like a tire skid mark, or when you peel out, that it's more prevalent when you first start and then it kind of, no.
No, that's not necessarily true. I understand why you have that impression, but the truth is that that isn't any kind of reliable indicator. The size of it, how it tapers. It certainly could have been coming from his left to his right, or from his right to his left.
Again, Doctor, can you show me or on you or me in reference to the path or trajectory that it appears to be from the left shoulder, I guess, right?
Yes. The first thing I'll cover up the tip because I don't want it to indicate any particular direction. But as he's lying here on the table, that wound is more or less this way. Of course, if his arm is up in the air when it happens, then it's this way. Not this way, it's this way. So that's just simply the way he's lying there on the table, and having a trajectory rod doesn't provide an accurate or reliable indicator of which direction it's really headed.
So it could have come either way, you're saying, and create that type of injury.
That's right.
If someone received that type of injury from a gunshot, would that individual have felt it?
This one, yes.
would they have reacted to it? And what I mean by that is that if I get hit with a bullet like that, do I kind of go around? Do I whatever? Would I react to it?
The answer is going to have caveats. And of course, I've never been shot, so I don't know personally. I've seen lots of surveillance video of people being shot with wounds similar to this. The answer to the question is, if this were the second wound inflicted on him, then he may not have any awareness. We've had obviously witness reports of people who have been shot and had no idea they were ever even shot, especially after being shot through the neck and trachea and lung. This wound may never have been detected. This wound also may be a continuation of the first wound. And it may not be two separate firings at all. This may be the graze of the bullet after it exited his neck, passing over the shoulder. If he's able to get into that position, I don't know. So in that sense, he may not have noticed it at all. If it was the first one, he might have noticed it. If it was a measurable time before the second one hit him, he might have been like, holy cow, I just got almost shot. But if it's this, and then a split second later, one passes through his lung and his trachea, maybe he didn't even have any real recollection of this one at all. He's more concerned about the one that tore through his trachea. I don't know.
You would agree that if it was the first one, he probably would have reacted to it.
That seems logical, yes.
Okay. And when you said the second caveat to this, it's kind of far down on the shoulder a little bit, right? And it went in and out. So you're saying he was like up, like would have been up like this, right? Possibly, if you said it was the same bullet.
Again, I'm not saying that that's what did happen, but I'm saying that again, I have to lay them out and see, but that's a possibility.
Okay. And there's no way to determine how far the firearm was shot from based on your observations or the doctor's observations during the pathology or autopsy in reference to how close it was fired. That's undetermined. It could have been anywhere far enough away. I mean, it wasn't close shot or there was no set to indicate that it was anywhere close.
Correct.
When you say that not anywhere close, what are you talking about in reference to feet that you would still, in your opinion, either get soot or some type of gun particle?
Each gun is different, but generally speaking, a handgun would be expected to deposit soot and stippling on the body at a range from anywhere from not touching the body up to about a foot, 18 inches, depending on the gun. Beyond that distance, we would expect to see the stippling, the gunpowder grains impacting the skin, up to about 3 feet. A very rare handgun will still cast it at 3.5 to 4 feet. But generally speaking, we use the 1 to 1.5 feet and then the 3 foot to 3.5 foot cutoff for those post range, medium range. Beyond 3.5 feet, that's when we get into distance where we do not expect to see gunpowder or soot deposited on us.
And if I used between you and I, if I said this possibly was about 5 feet, does that sound about right to you?
It does.
How much? You've mentioned the GSR kit. Did you prepare one or did the doctor prepare one when they did the autopsy?
Yes, sir. One was collected.
And do you know what they swabbed in order for the gun residue test?
Well, the way these are conducted and our technicians are trained to do is to use the stub and swab this crook of the hand, here between the thumb and the index finger, and then across the dorsal surfaces of each hand.
Oh. And you would agree, well, you did testify that there was no indication that there was a firearm close to those wounds that were created, that he sustained, correct?
Yeah, well, what I mean to say is that these wounds are not close range firing.
Right. The other thing you said was that you took the doctor took fingernail clippings.
Yes, sir.
Did they analyze those or made any observations as to if there was anything underneath? Because, a lot of times you're looking, would you agree with me, tissue, dirt, foreign substance, something like that. Does it indicate that there was any type of skin or foreign substance? And I will tell you, there was a fight before the shooting. Is there anything in the report that says they observed any foreign substance underneath them?
At the time of the autopsy, there's no indications that any particular debris or skin or anything was found under the nails. It's typically a microscopic. You have to use microscopic techniques in order to determine that, or even DNA techniques. neither of those done. I thought that's, we elected and most of them all. To the law enforcement, they can send them to a lab to be tested for that if they want to, or not. And I don't know if that was done.
Now, one last question. Do you know what was sent off for DNA testing, if anything?
I don't know if anything was sent off.
Do you know what typically is used when you have an autopsy that, say, a department or somebody would want to send off for analysis? What type of evidence from an autopsy they would send off?
The ideal is that they would use our blood spot card, which is a round disc of filter paper, really absorbent paper, and we put blood samples onto that, let it dry, and we preserve that as evidence if there's any testing needed in the future. They use that. I think they opted that would be the best substrate to use, but I don't know if they did that in this case.
I guess I fibbed. Did they do that in this case?
I don't know. We collected the blood spot card.
Yeah, but yeah, you did that, or the blood card was done.
Correct.
Normal course of autopsy, it's always done.
And I don't know if anybody did any testing.
Whatever happened, here it is. Whatever happened, happened.
Right.
Good to see you again, Doctor. Pass the witness.
So to clarify two things, and then I'm got a follow-up question. Number one, the marijuana that was discussed during that cross-examination, you said it had no effect at all on the death. Is that correct?
It did not cause or contribute to his death at all.
And all the discussion about this grazing wound, you cannot tell the jury the trajectory of that
I cannot.
at all. That's all guesswork, right?
Right.
Right. So let's compare this wound versus, I'll word it this way. Mr. Burbank asked you if it would cause someone to react. My question is, between that wound, I'm going to go with states 75, this other wound, well, the killing one where it enters here in 75 underneath the armpit and exits out state 76 right there. Which one of those two wounds is more likely to cause somebody that's struck by that to fall to the ground?
Definitely the gunshot wound that went through the torso, from the right axilla to the left side of the neck.
So in general, had I asked you just about this particular wound that we see in 75 and 76, the nature of what you saw on the trajectory, it could cause someone to fall to the ground.
Yes.
Is it within a realm of possibilities that this grazing wound could do that, or is it just the reaction stuff we talked about?
Someone in and of itself would not necessarily cause somebody to fall down, but someone could react by falling down after being grazed.
With this wound in state 78, this grazing wound, does it have the potential to leave a blood trail?
No, sir.
By comparison, in state 76, this wound that we talked about that enters from underneath the armpit and exits here, does it have the ability to leave a blood trail?
Yes.
Would that be something this jury should expect to see? Is it a blood trail after this wounding?
I think it could be expected, yes.
But not likely at all with the graze wound, correct?
That's correct.
There's no indication in there, is there, of any blood that occurred because of that grazing?
Correct. That graze wound just caused the sort of ooze, some serum there on the surface, but did not cause any outright bleeding.
That's what.
Anything else?
Just one question. Doctor, my question was, could an individual react if he got a graze wound? Not what wound would be more serious. Of course, a bullet wound, would you agree, is more serious in this case than a graze wound, correct?
The one
Yeah.
the torso was more big.
Right.
More big.
But my question was, would somebody react if they had a graze wound like that, like back or up or whatever it was?
I think that getting graze wound there would be likely to cause somebody to react.
And there's nothing in there that indicates that there was any blood that seeped out or spewed out or anything out of the graze wound, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
No additional questions, Judge.
All right, is this man excused?
Please.
No excuse, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Flight Commander. Flight Commander.
Please come forward, sir. Raise your right hand.
you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Please have a seat. Thank you.
Would you please state your name for the record? And if needed, you can adjust that microphone a little closer to you. No, that's better. Mr. Commander, where do you currently work?
I currently work for Arkham
Okay, back on December 27th of 2021, where were you working?
Medical Center, Southeast Texas.
Okay. What were your job duties at the medical center?
I was the lead technician for me.
And what does that include for the jury?
It includes a lot of things. I corresponded with a lot of contractors and took care of a lot of things, security cameras, all manner of things.
So you say security cameras. Was there a surveillance system located at the Med Center?
Yes.
Approximately how many cameras are at that location?
I should guess, I'd say 60 maybe, somewhere around there.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, inside and out.
Okay. So exterior and interior. How do those surveillance systems record? How do they work?
On a 7-day,
Okay. Is it recorded to a server?
no, it's reported to a DVR.
And can you explain to the jury how that works?
It was not connected to any outside server, so like it didn't go off anywhere. It was an older system, so it was just a DVR was all located on the grounds and it stayed there. So if it reported over 7 days, it would erase and start over.
So would anyone else at that time have had access to the surveillance system?
The time I worked there,
Okay. So if you're the only one that had access, where did they keep that surveillance system for access purposes?
in a secure room,
Okay. How do you get into that room?
you had to go to another room where a lady answers the phone. You had to ring the bell. She had to look at you in the camera. You had to show your ID. You had to sign out a key that was in the room that kept in another lockbox, and then you could go open that room.
Pretty tough security to get in there.
More or less.
On or about December 27th of 2021, did you happen to meet with any detectives from the Port Arthur Police Department?
Yes,
Do you recall what they were there for?
a young lady with the CSI.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
A young lady with the CSI division of Port Arthur.
Were they requesting to see any surveillance? Okay, what was it they were requesting to see?
They wanted to see the exterior camera where there's a camera that shows the emergency room drive where people pull up, and they wanted to see that camera.
So the specific camera you're referring to is at the entryway?
Correct. That is the entryway to the emergency room.
Okay. Were you able to pull that up?
Yes.
Were you able to review that video?
Yes.
And during that time, you watched the entirety of the video they had requested?
Yes.
You said it was a crime technician that came out?
Yes.
Did she at any point ask you to make a copy of those?
She did.
Did you make a copy?
I did not.
Okay. Why didn't you make a copy at that time?
The system was older, so I was unable to pull any video directly off of it. So what I did was I pulled it up and I ran the video, and she reported it from there.
So going back to, we're just focusing on the original surveillance here. Did you watch and view the entirety of that snippet she had requested?
I did.
And was it recorded on a device capable of making an accurate depiction of the events?
Yes.
Okay. You're a competent operator of that device?
I was.
Okay. Do the images contained in that original, again, we're focusing on the original, in the recording fairly and accurately depict the events shown at that front entry camera? Okay. Thereafter, there was a separate camera used to record?
Yes.
What kind of camera was it?
It was a digital camera of some sort, and at like an expensive camera. I don't know too much about cameras. So
Silly question just for the jury. What is the purpose of that camera?
what?
The camera she was using?
To record the video that I was running on the screen.
And while working with the hospital, did a lot of people come or a lot of detectives come to view the surveillance system?
Raising.
A time or two, yes.
So it was common you would work with somebody to record these. So the detective that responded there, was she competent operator of the camera she was using?
Seemed to be, yes.
And focusing on just that camera portion that she had recorded, did you watch the entirety of that event?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
All right.
I'm showing you what's in March States Exhibit 50. You recognize this? Can you tell me what that is?
The flash drive that holds the two snippets of video.
You say the two snippets of video. Are you referring to the videos recorded from the separate camera?
Correct. Those are video recorded. So
Have you had a chance to review that?
Okay.
And when did you review that?
I reviewed them this morning as well as last week.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the events?
They did.
Okay. And it also fairly and accurately depicts the exact recording from the original surveillance? You're the only individual with access to that room.
I was at that time.
At any point in time, was there any alterations to the original surveillance? Was there any alterations to this here snippet you referred to? Your Honor, I'm going to tender States Exhibit 50 to defense.
What number is it?
States Exhibit 50.
5-0.
No objection.
That admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
That is granted.
Can you see this, Mr. Commander?
I can.
Am I in your way, Mr. Commander? Can we still see?
I can see just not to do that.
I'm gonna play it, but I'm gonna get out of the way, okay?
You're good.
These are the two videos you were referring to earlier.
Yes.
Just so the jury understands, where is this point?
That's pointing at so there's a big overhang or porte cochere or whatever you call it in front of the ER entrance, and it's a drive-through, and that's pointing down at a wide angle of that drive-through. The door entrance is just right where you saw the gentleman run under. This is actually the second part of the video.
Is the time right on this entry?
Yes,
Okay. What is the time you see here?
12:52 p.m.
So we're looking at the afternoon and middle of the day. Is that right?
This is actually the second part of the video. The first part is the other.
What did you see on this one?
Saw a gentleman who parked the car and walked into the ER.
Anything else of importance on this video?
On this particular one, no.
We're gonna go to that original first video you just testified to. And then again, I'm gonna get out of your way. So the jury understands this is the exact same camera
Yes, thank you.
earlier in time.
Slightly, yes.
Seems to be blocked right there at the bottom. It clears away. What time do you see here?
12:50 p.m.
Date,
12:27, 2021.
what car do you see here?
White looks like that's a Ford or a Hyundai maybe.
Okay. And you observed the gentleman hopping in?
Yes, it is.
Are you aware of who that is?
I believe that's
Just from your personal knowledge, are you aware?
just my personal knowledge, that's the defendant, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, when the detective had left, did you have any other inclusion on this investigation, or was that your part?
That was my part complete.
So real quick, yeah, to get the video in, I guess you'd have to have somebody authenticate it, say it's a true and accurate copy. It's not AI or, altered in some way. So if there's like a security camera at a house, you could get the homeowner to do it. Being that it's at the hospital, you'd have to get somebody from security or somebody who is in charge of the cameras or stores that data. Typically, there'd be somebody with that role. Yeah, which we did with the first witness. That was just mostly to establish the video of the shooting. David Jones. I think I have them in my notes. Yeah. Yeah, David Jones called to admit the home camera video of Pew Pew. So.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
I don't know what to say. Good afternoon or good morning. Doesn't matter. You didn't know who that person was at the time it happened, right?
Time it happened?
Yeah, that you saw that?
I didn't know exactly.
Yeah, you don't even know who that was, right?
At that particular time, I didn't know.
Right. And then afterwards, you were told that you had to testify today at trial in the state versus Stephen Angelle, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And those times and dates, those are accurate, right?
Why not?
Did you see any alterations or modifications or anything like that in reference to any of that information? And you relied upon those in other instances to. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Pass witness.
No further questions. sir.
This man excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're excused, sir. Thank you. Who is next?
I wouldn't say I intend to do brief testimony with,
How long?
Detective Adams' presence.
Did you say brief?
It's going to be brief on the state side.
Okay, call us. Let's go in.
Adam Cousins.
Thank you. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Please have a seat. Thank you.
Let's state your name for the record, please, once you get.
Adam Cousins.
And what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a police officer for the city of Port Arthur.
Are you a detective there?
Correct.
And were you the lead detective on this case from December 27th, 2021 involving Stephen Angelle?
Oh.
And do you see him here in the courtroom today? Can you point to him and identify something that he's wearing? May the record reflect that he's identified the defendant.
Yes, it will.
Not to take, I know you did a lot on this case, but at this stage, I just have a few questions to set up dealing with some other evidence, okay? And then I'm gonna pass you. Specifically, did you get to a point where you took a buccal swab from Mr. Angelle?
I did.
Tell the jury how that operated.
So leading up to my investigation, I felt that a DNA specimen in the form of buccal swab would help me in my investigation. So I drafted a search warrant to detain that specimen. It was signed by a district judge. And I detained that specimen at the Judge County Correctional Facility from Mr. Angelle.
All right.
Just a second. To help the jury so that they don't think this is something like you're swabbing a belt buckle. There's a terminology that's used that's different from a belt buckle completely. Help the jury understand.
My question
what we're
is,
talking about.
what is a buccal swab?
A buccal swab is
Bailing
very
out the
basic.
defense.
Take a
Or state,
cotton swab
sorry.
and we swab the inside of the suspects or subject's cheek to get some saliva, and then we'll have a DNA sample. It's just a basic layman terms, just a Q-tip of some spit.
And you did that specifically?
Right.
Approach?
Yes.
We'll show you what's marked as states 53. Is this that buccal swab?
Yes, it is.
And how do you know that?
By the label from when they were plugged into.
So what I did with the jury yesterday was I asked somebody to identify a Fort Arthur Police Department tank. Do you see that here?
Correct.
You see, I asked them as well to identify the case number. Do you see that here as well?
Correct.
And on the printout here, does it indicate that this should contain the buccal swabs?
Correct.
Do you know what happened to this? As to where it went to?
So I asked our ID specialist on our property division to send that off to the DPS crime lab to be tested against other samples of DNA contained from a vehicle.
I'll show you what's marked in state 51. Does that look to be that packaging that was sent off?
Correct.
Look at that. Does it contain that buccal swab that we just talked about?
Yes, it does.
States 53. States 52, the DNA, reported DNA swab
Correct.
of the car.
Yes.
States 54,
Yes.
another DNA swab from that car.
Yes.
The total of 3, wasn't there?
Correct.
Is that what we see in 55? Is
Yes.
that DNA swab?
Yes.
As well as states 56.
Correct.
You know what that is?
It should be Linnell Philbins from the deceased Dakota Rubin from the
So from this, we ought to have a sample of Mr. Rubin, Mr. Angelle, and some items taken from the car, correct?
Correct.
And those were all sent off to the DPS lab for testing.
Correct.
That's what it's
You call him back.
later. It's
Seeing he's coming back, I'll wait for him later. We can see that. I
Okay.
passed the witness at this time, but subject to recall.
Okay. You're excused at this time. But stay close by
Yes.
with the prosecutor on information.
Yeah.
Your next witness,
we're going to get into the DNA witnesses, Judge. I have them lined out if you want to move.
can all of you return back, ladies and gentlemen, at 1:15? 1:15. Please remember the instructions the court has given to you. We'll see you back, please. Everyone else remain seated while the jury exits first. Thank you.
Okay. I am gonna, let's see, we'll do about 50 more minutes. And I'm gonna end. We'll start day 2, part 2. I am exporting day 3 now, so we'll have that ready. I do want to comment on, I do like the prosecutor calling the lead detective up periodically. It's a good way to do it because it was before lunch, so he had a little bit of time to fill. Didn't want to worry about like getting a witness ready, having a witness there. So you can just call the detective who's already there to authenticate a couple things, get a couple stuff ready to introduce onto the record, and then just get them off the stand. Okay, so where the hell am I? And yes, Hella is going at 7. She is probably gonna be a short stream, but she's doing the hearing today for Coburger. Oops. Sitka. We'll just call her forensic. Sound? Oh, guys, I am so sorry. Thank you, Irish. Good Lord. I'll go back. Well, no, because it's just her qualifications. I'm sorry, it was muted though. I'm an idiot. So
Examine items of evidence to perform testing on any stains that would have any possible biological material, collect those possible biological stain and any other DNA from items of evidence, prepare those for DNA analysis, perform DNA analysis, write reports, testify in court, and perform any other duties that are assigned to the lab.
Right. So like when you do, like for today's case, your report is titled what?
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am, if it will help you on your memory, go ahead.
the biology laboratory report.
And is that pretty much the norm for most of your cases? All right. So with each one of these cases, do they have a Houston Crime Lab number that's associated with it?
Yes, we do.
What's the one associated with this case?
2201-01140.
So in a moment, when I show you some physical evidence, you'll be able to find that exact number, correct?
Should be able to identify it using the unit case number, my initials, and the target analysis on it.
So did you in fact receive some evidence as part of the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Lab for an offense involving a homicide back on December 27th, 2021 here in Jefferson County?
Yes,
And was that given a specific number from a law enforcement agency?
there is a agency case number in our submission form.
And which agency did it come from?
The report author, waste department.
So again, when I show you some evidence, there should be some identifiers with the Port Arthur Police Department number, right?
If my notes, I have to refer to my notes, but if my notes refer that the agency case number was mentioned, then I should be able to identify.
On your report that's dated March 11th, 2022, is there an agency case number from Port Arthur? What is that number?
51691-21.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
All right, so let's take a look at some of that physical evidence and let's see if it matches up, okay? We'll start with this month as, get out your glove.
Yes.
You don't like handling any of this stuff without your gloves on, do you, man? Right?
Yes.
Go ahead, glove up. I'm gonna have you touch a lot of this stuff for me. So when we look at, we're gonna start at the exterior of these two envelopes. Okay? These two envelopes are State's Exhibit 51. That I've marked here. And State's Exhibit 57 that I've marked here. Just in general, this kind of packaging, I'm gonna guess you see this a lot coming from different law enforcement agencies.
It's pretty common.
So when we get to trying to identify things, do we look for your Houston Crime Lab number on these? That number that we talked about in your report, that Houston number,
Yes.
which is 2201-01140.
Yes.
Do we look for that?
Yes.
Is it on State's Exhibit 51 and 57? Let's look at 51 first. Yes. How about 57?
Yes.
And y'all use a specific color crime tape, for lack of a better word. What color is yours?
Green evidence tape.
Why do y'all use a specific color evidence tape?
Just to distinguish
Because they're racist.
between the evidence that is used by the agency versus what we use.
Yeah, when you come visit some prosecutor like me and we're pulling out evidence, you quickly look to see if there's green tape.
I look at a couple of things, so the green tape, my initials, and the date.
Very good. So we've identified these two exhibits, 51 and 57, have the green tape. Let's see if your initials and date is all on those two.
They are here, my initials and date on exhibit 51 and on exhibit 57 as well.
Your initials are SP, right?
That is correct.
So if the jury wants to look at the exhibit, they'll see your SP here. And on 57, right near the tape on this one as well, right? Yes.
Yes.
And you dated it. What's the date on those two? They seem to have the same date.
It's 2/23/2022.
Right. So if this offense is alleged to have occurred on December 27th of 2021, you're dealing with this physical evidence maybe 2 months later. Is that what we're looking at here?
It was submitted to our crime lab on January 25th.
All right. So the lab received it a month after the incident?
Yes.
More or less. And then you deal with it in February.
Yes, it was assigned to me, so I worked on it in February.
All right, let's go inside the two exhibits, okay? On State's 51, it contains within States 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. I've got to lay that there for you. All means, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to see if it's got those identification markers that we were talking about. And by that, I mean, does it contain the green tape? Does it contain your initials and the date and the Houston Crime Lab number? Specific to this case.
Yes.
As to all of those exhibits, correct?
Yes.
States gender, States Exhibit 51 through 55, excuse me, 56.
No objection, Judge.
Admitted.
We'll come back to this and what's in there. Let's go ahead and finish with 57, okay? So second thing, we're looking at the contents here. This 57 that we're opening up contains States Exhibit 59 and States Exhibit 58. First question, three identifiers. Does it have those items? Your green tape, your initials, and the specific Houston case number?
Yes.
Now, I did note on States Exhibit 59 that this does not on the outside contain any red tape.
This was something that was generated by me.
So you're the only one that handled this, at least the first person that handled it as far as that's concerned.
That is correct.
Now we would tender states exhibits 57, 58, 59.
Just, yeah.
Right, on the other. I got you wrong.
Objection states. What is it?
It's 7 through 59.
759 inclusive.
Okay,
Fine. Without objection, they are admitted.
now we got in and we've talked a little bit more freely about this, that. All right, so, yeah. These 51 and 57 are really just the outer containers for these items. So I'm going to set those aside. I think it's easier if we talk backwards. What'd you do with 50? First off, what is State's Exhibit 58?
State Exhibit 58 contains the carpet cutout from the driver's side floorboard of Toyota Camry.
When you received these items, didn't you get a chart from the ID technician, ma'am?
There are some photographs that were submitted with the case.
Jury saying in State's Exhibit 15. My question is, did you get that chart?
Or
That's it.
appears to be the same.
All right, so I'm gonna put this up here because I think we're dealing with something that's identified here, ma'am. Marked here is cut out carpet, possible blood. Is that what you were looking at in State's Exhibit 58? Is what appeared to be something like that?
So it has a item number 52 in the picture, and on the submission form that was submitted by the agency, it had item 52 listed next to the carpet cutting.
All right, so for the jury's benefit, then, and all I did, that's what we're talking about, right? Yes,
Yes.
that's here. How did you generate State's Exhibit 59?
Anytime we receive an item of evidence, which is both cloth material or clothing, or during analysis, we do a tape lift, which is basically collecting any possible hair, any fibers from the item, and collecting on clean or clean tape, and then packaging it, properly sealing it, and putting it back into the evidence, because I'm not a trained analyst. So if the agency requests for it, it can be submitted to the trace department and they can do trace analysis.
So it's probably a pretty good place for us to pause and talk about your job. You said you're not a trace analyst.
I'm not.
So a lot of what, and I'm paraphrasing, if I do it incorrectly, you correct me, okay? Your job is you prepare a lot of the evidence that goes on to someone else who analyzes it, specifically like to the trace analyst.
When we have items of clothing, yes, that is the norm. That is how we do it in black.
And you did that on this case, and that's what 59 is.
That is correct.
You also prepped items that deal with the other envelope for DNA testing, right?
That's correct. Yes.
What's involved with prepping something? We kind of talked about the tape lift here for 59. Did you describe that already to the jury?
Tape lift, yes.
Yes, you already did?
I believe so.
Okay. Double checking myself on that. Thank you. All right, let's put these back in here. I believe we covered that. Are you aware of the findings that were reached? Here's my question. Was it blood?
There is apparent blood that was detected on the carpet cutting.
And that's part of what your lab will do. Is
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
that's part of what the Houston Crime Lab does. Is might be blood.
Yeah, we test for positive blood. So we never say blood, we always say apparent blood because we didn't do a confirmatory test for it.
So we go from that carpet cutting being possible blood to y'all now use the phrase apparent blood.
Yes.
A lot of what the jury will learn today is that y'all have a specific language you use with things, correct?
Yes.
Why don't you go as far as saying, hey, yes, it was blood. Why don't you do that?
We don't put bond with the phone, just like we have that. It's more value to what's I need for him.
But the evidence states that 51 done in the items. What you do with those items, you know?
There are 3 swaps from Toyota Camry. of Toyota PC, and those were forwarded for DNA analysis without any testing performed on it. And there was one exhibit 56 where fingernail swabs, clippings, and scraping from Mr. Jacoby Rubin.
As well as a buckle swab from Stephen Angelle, correct?
Yes, there was a buckle swab from
Right.
Mr. Stephen Kinchel.
So on our deal up there, it says touch DNA. Deal is the wrong way to say that. On State's Exhibit 15, the diagram, it says touch DNA swabs 56, 57, 58. Those items that you received from Port Arthur, are they represented here in State's Exhibit 52, State's Exhibit 54, and State's Exhibit 55?
Yes,
Did you prepare any of those items to be sent on for DNA analysis?
yes.
Which items?
Swab from steering wheel of Toyota PC, and swab from gear shift of Toyota PC, and swab from inside of driver's side door handle from vehicle.
All right. So all three of these items you prep to send on to the DNA for DNA analysis.
Yep.
What does it take to prepare one of these to send on to the next step? What do you do?
In case of items of evidence, if there are swabs, I would generally look what the swabs look like, if they have any color to it. If there is red dye staining, then I would perform a test for positive blood. But in this case, there was no coloration or nothing that indicated red dye staining. So all I did was I collected them and I prepared them for DNA analysis, which means I took a portion of the swab and I put it into a sterile tube, a small tube, and I would label and barcode it accordingly. And I put it in a secure location for the other analysts to take it all the way to the DNA analysis process. And
I'm sorry, please.
and the remaining swab that was not processed will be then shaped in a conform envelope, properly sealed, and placed in as freezer for long-term storage.
Is that in case somebody else wants to come along and do additional testing?
That is it.
And those items have been maintained where, if, for example, the defense wanted to do that, it was available.
You can request from the agency. Anybody can request for additional testing, and we can go back and perform those.
You mentioned, and I apologize, I started to interrupt you, but you said something, you started to explain some of the safeguards that y'all have to ensure that this evidence is secure. Go ahead and tell the jury about that, please.
We do a lot of, we take a lot of steps. So our quality control steps, which are so we are part of our quality assurance program at DPS Lab, where we start like, as we are handling our evidence, we do a lot of steps to make sure that there's no contamination and the chain of custody is maintained. And we ensure that there is no error in between, because there are a lot of steps. So to make sure that there are no errors, we take a lot of steps. Starting with our DNA evidence is stored at a secured location. It's our secure DNA vault, and the items of evidence after being submitted to us stays there till an analyst is assigned a case. So we have to have a special code. So it's a two-person access. So we have to have a special code to go in. Once the case is assigned to an analyst, they would go into the vault to retrieve it and bring it back to their desk to start analyzing it. Whether we wear our personal protective equipment, which includes wearing lab coat, gloves, face mask, and eye shields if required. And we clean our lab bench with bleach, with ethanol to make sure that there is no contamination in between cases. And then also, before we open any items of evidence, we place filter paper on our desk and we change it often in between items and also between cases. And we change gloves pretty often. So these are just some of the steps we take.
So you like to pull out your gloves and wear them here, right? So all those safeguards, can you assure this jury that that was done with the evidence you're not been talking about so far?
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about the swabs that came from here. I want to go to these last two items in front of you. I think when you and I were talking about everything, you did your preparatory work to send both some items from 53 and 56 on for analysis. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Right. So let's start with the buccal swab of Mr. Angelle, which is states 53. Did you in fact compare something here be sent on so that we could compare his DNA to the items that are there?
Yes, I did.
Same process like we talked about with the swabs is used?
Yes. For buccal swabs, for knowns from an individual, we generally process it at the very end of our analysis in order to prevent any form of contamination.
What did we do out of state's 56, because this purports to contain a few items.
So the items that were included on state exhibit 56 was fingernail, right hand finger swab,
Super scissors. She can't find out. No scissors. Right.
the right hand clippings, left hand clippings, then right hand scraping and left hand scraping from Mr. Jacoby Rubin.
So you've seen me open up 656 and you saw me cut into it.
Yes.
Empty the contents. These two little tubes indicate to be what?
Right hand finger swabs and left hand finger swabs.
This side?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
The right hand clippings,
Well, right hand clippings look like we have right hand scrapings.
right hand scraping.
And then we have two other packages that appears to be the left hand.
The left hand clippings and the left hand scraping.
Right, so we got 6 items that are contained within states 56. Which ones, if any, did you do some preparation to be sent on for DNA analysis?
I submitted the right hand clippings and left hand clippings for DNA analysis.
So not either one of these scrapings nor either one of the swabs, right?
I collected those swabs, but I did not forward those for DNA analysis.
So that, I'm gonna place these back in here. And was it the clippings you used?
Yes.
So I've got the left hand and the right hand here. I'm putting scrapings back in. All right. Oh, thank you. Nice attention to detail, man. Clippings, right hand, clippings, left hand. Yes, those are correct ones. Thank you for correcting. That's fine. It's okay. So these are the items that you prepped, yes?
Yes.
Will these give someone in your field the ability to know what the DNA is for Jacoby Rubin? A known sample is the word that you all use.
So in this case, these samples were submitted as question samples by the agency. And typically when we get these samples, it is submitted as question samples. And the agency did not reach out to us, asking like if we could use it as a known. So
Will those samples that were prepped give us an example, and I know that's not the word you use, will it give us the DNA for Jacoby Rubin?
I did not perform any DNA analysis on this, but potentially it would give you a DNA profile.
All right. So when you prep this, is that one of the things that the DNA analyst can obtain?
Potentially, yes.
And that would be with these 2 items here, yes?
Yes.
That the extent of the prep work that you did on this case, ma'am?
Yes.
Not any of the additional testing. That went on to someone else, correct?
The DNA analysis was performed by somebody else.
And that lady is here to testify, is she not?
She is.
All right. That's what.
Good afternoon. Just a couple questions. The last questions that you asked in reference to the right and left finger swabs.
Clippings.
No, did you have finger swabs?
I did have finger swabs.
Okay, in addition to the clippings.
Yes, I had swabs, clippings, and scrapings.
Okay, and the right and left finger swabs. What did it indicate where, who it came from? Did it have a name on it?
Jacoby Rubin.
Rubin? And the scrapings? Do you know where that came from? What type of scrapings or where they scraped from? What part of the body? Did it indicate?
It said right hand scraping and left hand scraping.
So they took a right and a left hand scraping?
Yes.
And was that tissue that they took? Did you prep it or you didn't?
I tested it and I collected an item from it.
What type of item did you collect? Or what were you? Yeah. What did you get from it?
In my notes, I wrote that there were apparent dark colored debris that was present in a paper fold. I swabbed the debris and I collected it, and that was the extent. I performed testing on it, and it was resulted positive for apparent blood.
When you say debris, did you test the debris
I did. I swabbed and I tested it for possible blood.
or just blood?
That is correct.
Do you know what type of debris it was, though, that you got the blood off of?
No, I won't.
Is there a way of doing that?
It could possibly go to the trades department, but it was not submitted to the trades. It was submitted to DNA. So it could be.
And what is your understanding of debris? What does that encompass? What is that?
Could be blood, but it's something that is small, dirt-like.
Dirt, particles, some type of particles, something, whatever.
Yeah.
Something that shouldn't be on the skin. Something's born into the skin. I'm being really simple.
I won't be able to test, but just like wingman, again, I'm not a trained analyst, so it might be my terms having with debris in my eyes. So that's how I wrote the frame dark color debris.
And when you did the finger analysis, you detected blood on the right and left fingers, or just one?
Yes.
On both of them?
Yes, there was a frame blood in both the right hand finger swab and left hand finger swab.
You don't know any reason why they asked you, or they sent those types of samples to you.
Yeah.
And then you just ship it on to whoever wants to, the analyst is going to do it, and then you're finished.
Yes, once I put it in a tube, I always label it, barcode it, and it saves me secure location for the next analyst to take it out of the within them.
And all the samples that you received too, you put it back into a secure location.
So after my analysis was done, the packaging was the other packaging that are all properly sealed, and then or marked to be returned to the agency.
Or you send it back to the agency.
So we today.
Thank you, ma'am. That's what.
No further questions of this witness, Judge?
Is this lady excused?
Please.
You are excused, ma'am. Thank you. Next, please.
Amanda Domer. It's my file. That's the case. You're good. You take the last one.
Forward, please. And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
And please have a seat.
Now
Thank
I
you.
think
Go ahead.
Go ahead and state your name for the record, please, ma'am.
My name is Amanda Domer.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a section supervisor in the biology and DNA section of the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Lab in Houston.
Section supervisor.
Yes,
When did you become the section supervisor?
about a year and a half ago.
I think I'm gonna end it here. Because hell is going in like 20 minutes. So I'm gonna redirect y'all over there. Tomorrow I've got the stream all set up, so we'll finish the rest of this. Possibly start day 3, we'll see. And then we'll do some more on Sunday, I believe. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. And then 10 a.m. Eastern for courtroom roulette. So hope to see you guys there. So yeah, I will see you all over at Hella's. Toodles.